Hello, I'm Gary Quinn, and welcome to Ready, Set, Live. Today on the show, I have Atlanta's top residential luxury brand real estate agent, Debra Johnston. Welcome to the show, Debra.
Thank you, Gary. Glad to be here.
Debra, I know a lot of people during the COVID-19 have been experiencing a lot of different, let's say, problematic issues, but I know in the real estate market, it seems like that has basically started to take off, especially in Atlanta. And I know that Atlanta is now basically the Hollywood of the South. Um, why do you think that is? I mean, what's the draw about Atlanta that everybody wants to come there now?
Well, I feel like it's been probably 2 or 3 years now where the film industry has been doing incredible projects here. Just being in Buckhead, you can see film crews and production happening, and it's pretty exciting. And now the studios are being built out. There's, two or three, and of course Tyler Perry's studio. So all of that, it's just building, and it's just created a great environment for the industry as well as the music industry.
Right. Well, also, I think also because Atlanta has four seasons, and I think because of the amount of property, the let's say the land, you're
Yeah.
getting a full package if you decide to move there. And I think what I've been seeing through research is that a lot of people from the big cities have decided to move to the South, and Atlanta seems to be one of the number one spots.
Well, for me, I mean, I grew up in the Midwest and I moved here 25 years ago, and I just love the quality of life. There's we're sort of affectionately called the city of trees because the canopy over the city is really, really beautiful. And we do have four seasons. I feel like you can get to the mountains, you can go to the beach, you can really do whatever you want to do, as well as live and work here. And the cost of living is pretty affordable for what you get being in a city of 6 million people. And it's just very exciting to see what's happening.
Um, you know, uh, Choosing to be in the real estate market, and you have been one of the top luxury brand agents at Berkshire Hathaway for several years, and I've worked with you, coaching you, so I know what you've done. But what are some of the traits that a successful real estate agent needs to have if someone is, starting out or has decided this is what they want to really do now in their life? What would be something that you would say your biggest tips that you would say to really help someone?
I feel like first and foremost, when I think about my own career, is that you really have to look at real estate as a full-time commitment. And to me, I'm passionate about it anyway. I love real estate. I love architecture. And for me, it was like I loved the subject matter anyway. And I really like the immediate gratification of helping people find their dream home. So if you have that skill set or that passion about real estate, I think first and foremost, that's what makes all the difference. I also feel like if you have strength in marketing, in social media, in just and also just in business and negotiating, all those skills put together make for an excellent real estate agent. And that's what I try to focus on.
And also, I think one of the qualities that you have excelled in is that, and we talked about this before, is that it's the authenticness of you that draws clients and they start to trust you, but you use a bit of your intuition to know what is it that they're looking for, right? I mean, you sort of sense when you meet someone what their needs are.
Yes, it's a great skill and I'm constantly working on it. But I mean, I feel like nobody wants to be oversold anything. Nobody wants to be over talked to. So it's really about listening to what they want and then being able to react and really to put um, homes in front of them after listening to exactly what they're saying. And sometimes what they're saying is really not what they're really wanting. And so you have to differentiate and kind of figure out. And that's what makes it so much fun.
But it's interesting. You said the important word, listening.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in business, they have an intention of, I'm going to sell this house to her or him, but they don't listen. And I think what makes a great, um, let's say, any person that does any business is they really know how to listen and really grow from that. And so, what has been one of your biggest lessons, let's say, in life so far that you've learned?
Oh my gosh, Gary. Oh, what's my biggest lesson? I think my biggest lesson is you spend your whole life learning and growing, and it constantly changes. And that change is good. And I've also learned that you just have to face your fear and just lean into it, and it gets better if you are right there.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I was recently listening to an interview about successful women who go into the workplace, and I'm a big advocate for women who, turn their lives around into really becoming a huge success in whatever field it is. But I know that the number one thing is that these women, whether they have a college education background or corporate world background, they excel in intention, but belief and passion. And I think passion, and I know you're passionate about your business because I know that from 10 in the morning till 11 at night, you're brokering deals or putting it together and you love it. And
5 in the morning.
that's I think
Not
that
10, 5 a.m.,
oh,
Gary.
5 a.m. Okay. All right. I mean, that's important because I think you really have to love what you do. And
Yes.
and then that shows that you're not in a wrong field, So I think a lot of younger people in the business, they don't have accountability that's missing so that they're, in a different state of mind. So I think what's so successful about you is that it's really being accountable for your actions, but taking responsibility, but knowing how to be a team player. Um, and what would you say, why people maybe don't trust themselves? I know you sometimes, not that you doubt yourself, but we all doubt ourselves for a moment. But is there a regimen that you do that really gets you balanced? Because I think balance is the key for any
Yeah.
business. What's your balancing mechanism?
Well, the first thing that I think about, let's say I've had some situation and a deal crashes or blows up, and I feel like, oh my gosh, where is my next deal going to come from? And what am I going to do? And I just try to manage those feelings because in real estate, as bad as it might feel one day, the next day something will happen and it completely changes everything and everything starts moving forward or something positive happens. So I try to like remember that if something really bad happens one day, the next day something fabulous is going to happen. I just have to believe it's going to happen.
Exactly. It's
And
almost like one door closes and three
yeah,
doors open,
correct. That's what it feels like.
you know.
And so if you think about that, because real estate is such a roller coaster. I mean, one day everything's coming in, and the next day something or two things go back down, or something happens. So you just have to every day think about, okay, I'm moving forward, things are happening, it's going to be great. And it usually is.
What has been, Deborah, what has been your most, let's say, important, or your favorite selling experience that you had with a client? Was there a deal that was like you just said, this was the deal that was so amazing or easy for me, that was my favorite deal? Did you have a favorite deal at all?
Well, I've had a lot of favorite deals, and the ones that are the most fun is when it's almost like everything just clicks. For example, I might hold an open house and somebody walks in the door, and this is a specific example. They had just remarried, they had the kids with them. CEO of a company really needs to find his dream home quickly. He comes into this open house. I can see the look on his face like, oh my gosh, I love this. And he sees the pool and the lake beyond, everything. And I'm just watching everything click into place. He wants it, seller wants to sell it. It's a perfect marriage of the two. And it turns out they're both very similar in nature anyway. And while it was a hard deal to really get to the finish line just because of all the variables and everything, it came together. And then that buyer said, I want you to sell my house. And it was like a chain reaction of deals to really help on both sides.
Exactly.
That
Now,
was
I
very
remember,
exciting.
I remember when you were at that one time doing an open house showing, or you would stop by or something, and a lady just heard you talk, and she said, "I have to have you as my agent." I mean, you just said a few words,
Every time, but yeah.
but
Sometimes.
that is, I believe that is really the authenticity of your frequency draws people in, and I think that's part of what's missing with some agents, in any business, but I know in the real estate market, it's really a trust, but you're speaking a language they understand. Um, and I think you've got to, each individual has to be accountable for their behavior. And I think when you're working, you're at your top, peak, at your speed. I mean, what do you do to, I know you have an exercise regimen. What is your schedule like? I know you get up quite early, but what does that look like? A day, walk me through a day of Debra. A busy day.
A busy day.
But
Well, it
every day
starts,
is a busy for you.
well, yeah, it starts, I mean, during the week. And I've really gotten into a routine of getting up very early. I get up probably around 5, and I have an outstanding trainer that just works me over for like 35 minutes. So I get there, we train, pretty much total body, 35 minutes, I'm in, out, and then I get home and I can spend at least, from 7 till about 8:30 getting ready for my day, figuring out what I need to get done, going through my calendar. And it's just a quiet time before the day starts, because pretty much after 8, then my phone starts ringing and I'm, getting ready. But that first thing in the morning of getting that training in, I know I don't have to do anything but get my gym clothes on and get there. I do that. And then when I come home, I'm like ready to get going for that day. And so I do that during the week. And then on the weekends, I might sleep in a little bit just to catch up. But I think it really helps me get aligned for my schedule that day.
And
And that
and I
might,
think yeah, and the research is that successful people have a schedule that they follow, and they get up quite early,
yeah.
because that's when you get the most efficiency out of your day.
Mhm. Yeah. It,
Um,
it, it really works for me. It helps.
I know also, you were in a movie, called, The Boss, and
Like a boss.
like a boss, exactly. What was that like working with, Tiffany Haddish and Rose Byrne and Selma Hayek?
It was fantastic. I mean, it was my first experience, and just being with the cast or being a part of the cast, and they work so hard. I mean, just watching, doing the scenes over and over, and Selma and Tiffany, they would just, they're pro. I mean, they're so good at what they do. And here it is like 2 a.m. I'm thinking, how are they going to do that again? And they would just exactly the same way. So to be a part of that in my first movie, it was so exciting.
And it was such synchronicity how we have to thank Catherine Carlin, who's another client of
Yes.
mine, who I knew that I put together if I put you two together, you guys would just connect because Catherine's from the South originally. But it must have been such a great experience having your own dressing room, being in the green room. I saw the pictures. I mean, it was great.
Catherine was so patient with me because, you know, she's a true professional. And I'm like, what do I do? How, you know, we did a couple of scenes together, but what a fantastic experience for me. I mean, it was just incredible. It was like, yes, it was late at night and I'm trying to do real estate during the day, but for 4 days, it was totally worth it.
You were moonlighting as a star actress at night.
Now I can get my SAG card, right?
Exactly, and you got paid, which was brilliant. I mean, so the thing is, I think the experience was probably. I mean, everybody wants to be in a movie, and especially those three women that you were surrounded with. The four, you had Catherine, you had all the other actresses. That must have been such a great experience.
It was. It was so much fun. I mean, it was a lot of work, but it was something out of my comfort zone that was challenging, and it was like I just have to lean in and go for it. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, and I know you've also been on TLC, HGTV as a real estate expert. So it's not like you were foreign to it, and you have a lot of celebrity clients that people would know the names of that live in Atlanta or have come and rented one of your properties. I mean, it seems like show business is just surrounding you.
It works really well.
Everywhere. And I know a lot of famous people have stayed at your house or rented one of your houses, and it was quite impressive. I don't know if you can say any of the names, but I mean, it was like having these people living in that house, was like, wow, they're sleeping in my, my house.
Yeah, I did rent it 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
And you just
everybody was super nice.
Yeah, and you just had another great big movie that's coming out that just rented it. So it's some people might recognize your one of your homes, but I think it's really, I don't think Atlanta is going away from Hollywood. I think it is the second Hollywood. Which is so great because everything you see at the end of the movie filmed in Atlanta.
Yes, it's super exciting. And my house, I mean, the Aretha Franklin movie that's coming out, it'll be on that, and it was in Being Mary Jane.
That's right.
It's just exciting. Yes.
That's right. Debra, why do you think a lot of people in life, they're looking for happiness, but they don't seem to be happy? What do you think the key is for people who are unhappy? What can they do to try to make themselves happy? And I know buying a new car or buying a new property, that's temporarily making them happy. But what advice would you give to try to, for someone to say, how does she stay happy?
Well, it's very challenging with everything that's happening with COVID, and our city is not what it was right now because it's very quiet because people are trying to keep a distance and stay healthy. So that's a really hard question to answer because it's just, for everybody, it's not normal right now. So how do you stay happy? That's a hard question.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it goes back to, if you have a place where you feel like you have a little bit of quality of life, because out of this, I think that people are spending more time together with their families. I mean, maybe there's some positive outcomes that will come of all of this. I mean, I think if you have, for me anyway, if I feel like I have my place here that is, my little space that is calming, sit by the pool or whatever. But
Yeah, and you have your little dog. He's
I
such
do.
a sweetie.
Yeah, he's
Um,
sitting right over there.
but I
He's
think also, I think during this COVID-19 period, I think it's given a lot of people they've had to look at themselves because they had to stop doing what they've been doing and really assess what really is important in their lives and where do they want to go. And I know a lot of marriages have been breaking up because people find out that that's not who I am, and I'm having to look at that closely, or that career is not what I want to do anymore, or I need to change my attitude, or maybe I need to make amends with a family member, or I need to have boundaries with people. Um, has there been any shifts that you might have assessed that you said, wow, that's an epiphany I've had during this time?
Well, the biggest, and I mean, yes, I've had a huge epiphany, and that is that, in general, when people go through a life change, whether they're getting married or they're having a child or there's a divorce or whatever the reason, most of the time that will create a real estate transaction. Maybe they want to buy a new house. Maybe they want to sell their house. So that happens. Well, can you imagine with COVID, everybody's lives have changed for every reason. They might decide to get married. They might be having a child and need more space. Their job has changed and they need to work from home. They need a retreat because they're at home and they want a pool or a tennis court to exercise. So right now, the market is on fire because everybody is changing. I sort of feel like it's like musical chairs in a way, where people, especially in the luxury in the over 5 million marketplace, people are changing up. They're increasing size, they're downsizing, they had been waiting and they've decided they're not waiting any longer. They're buying properties that have more land, for example. All these scenarios are now happening at once. And it started right when things started to open back up again in early July, and it hasn't stopped.
Wow.
And that's where I am right now.
Right. And you can still show properties safely with masks and certain short periods, correct?
Yeah, this is what it looks like.
Oh, that's great. Good.
It's like it covers up my whole face almost, but isn't that great branding for
Yeah,
my brokerage?
absolutely.
But no, yes, this is very serious. I always show with a mask on, and I have my things of
Disinfectant.
sanitizer.
Yeah.
Yep, it's for door handles and everything to make sure it's completely safe for people coming in as well as when we leave, so that my homeowners are comfortable.
Have
But
you have you found that some people would like to view the house virtually?
when we were sheltering in place, I had a little bit of that, and I actually did have a sale from a FaceTime showing. Um, there have been some requests from agents who have clients that are moving here from out of state. One of my properties is currently pending as a result of a corporate relocation. And so we did the showing via FaceTime. And then later, when things opened back up again, they came in to see the house, and we're closing on it this month.
Excellent.
But it seems like, well, some of my properties are vacant or they're stage vacant, so
Hmm.
I can go ahead and show. So I'm still showing in person.
Yeah, I think that the what you said earlier about people are taking action now of actually I've got to downsize, I've got to purchase this, or I've been waiting all this time to do something. So I think it's this COVID-19 has caused an urgency to say I have to do this, or I must change.
Yeah.
Um, and so I know a lot of people are even taking money out of the stock market and purchasing property.
Yes.
So because land is premium,
Hmm.
some of the houses that you have are just stunning. The
Thank
properties are. I mean, I've never seen such incredible land, especially that one that was the pink property that was, I think it was a 3.2 million house that had the separate entrance, and it was the upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah,
That sold quickly.
it
You-
did. And, that was a very unique property, but it was on 8 acres and very private, but it was a very specific, all done in original Art Deco. I mean, it was really a one of a kind trophy property. And I just happened to find the buyer. It was great.
Well, see, that's the key is finding the right buyer
Yeah.
is a talent. And I think, that you always seem to have the pulse on that market. And probably other real estate agents are probably going, how does she do it? How does she do it? So I think the secret really starts within you.
And being different and differentiating.
Exactly. Uh, and where do you see what's the future that you'd like to create for your business? What does it look like in the next couple years?
Well, I feel like I'm still in a growth stage and I just want to keep selling more property and doing great deals for my clients. I hope to just continue with my volume. I mean, Berkshire Hathaway has been such an excellent brokerage, and the support that I have from them benefits my clients. And I just see my portfolio growing to even more properties and selling more properties. I like representing both buyers and sellers. They're both two different, type projects, but I like them both. And I just see it every year. My volume has increased. So
Is
that's
there
what
is there a
I am.
special a favorite architecture you like? Do you like mid? What do you like? Is it modern? Do you like more Renaissance feel to a house? Is there any favorites?
You know what? I love them all. I have to say, I mean, I own a mid-century modern that I redid. I love that. I specialize in modern architecture, but I see every home, it just surprises me, especially when the attention to detail is there and the quality of the finishes. I mean, traditional homes will take my breath away. And fortunately, nowadays, when I first moved here, it was mostly traditional. And now we're getting a nice range of all different types of architecture that I really like. I've got a beautiful Mediterranean on Jet Road that's just incredible. And then the other trophy property we were talking about. And then I've got other ones. I have one that's a brand new construction, modern architecture that's really dramatic, 3 stories with a clear story glass view out over the property, no neighbors. I mean, it's stunning. So each one, I love them
Well,
all.
what's so great about Atlanta is you always feel like there's forest around you.
There
You
is, for the
know,
most part, yes.
you know. Uh,
Yeah,
is
it's really
there
nice.
is there anything that while you're driving to the location, you love to listen to musically? Anybody who inspires you as an artist, musician?
I just love, I mean, growing up in Detroit, I don't listen to Motown now, but I
Right.
love, R&B and
Uh-huh.
I, I listen to jazz. I like, then I've got local clients. I love their music.
That's right. You're a Detroit girl,
I'm in Detroit
heart of the
and Southern Michigan,
Motown.
Motown.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now you're more of an Atlanta girl.
I am. I'm a mix.
Mix. Yeah, but your mom still, and your mom is wonderful. You
Yeah,
know,
she.
I always get to visit with her when she's visiting you. Um, but you know, I really think that you're doing an amazing, you know, work spiritually, mentally, physically, and I think it's the balance that keeps you going. And I think that's what's missing with people. They don't find that inner balance so that they can excel in their purpose or what they love as a passion.
Mhm. Well, balance is always a challenge in this field, as you can imagine.
Right.
Maybe my balance looks a little different than somebody else's balance, but I am aware of it. But like I said, I love what I do anyway. So,
Correct.
and
And you also have to, you know, supply the food intake of what you're eating health wise, because to continue that stamina, you
Mhm.
have to eat healthy. I mean, and make choices that give you longevity. I'm a fanatic about finding about anything about longevity, and health, nutrition, I think, is the key for anybody to excel,
Yes, I would agree with that.
you know.
Every
Um,
once in a while, though, I sort of fall off and have to have a pizza, but
right. Well,
we're all
yes, you
like
can
that.
have, yeah, you can have a piece of cake once in a while, or a pizza once in a blue moon, but it's really, but staying consistent is the key
Definitely.
to really just, you know, I just found out about this, which I just ordered. It's a marine-based collagen
Oh,
that is a drink that you mix. So I'll have to let you know how that works. Um,
yeah.
because collagen is what our skin is made of, and
It's huge. Yeah.
as we age, you know, it gets thinner or it starts to get damaged by the sun. So this collagen is supposed to be the top of the line.
Oh,
So it's supposed to arrive soon. So I'll let you know how it tastes.
I would love to know.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much,
No, thank you.
Deborah, for being my guest today. It's always a pleasure to work with you and have you spending some time with me today. And I wish you all the best, and stay healthy, stay successful, stay happy, and we'll see you real soon.
Sounds fantastic.
I'm Gary Quinn, Ready, Set, Live. Thank you for joining me today. You can also visit me on Instagram, or you can watch the shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, or you can go to my website, garyquinn.tv. Until next time, I'm Gary Quinn.